my MGMs, my Creoles, my brass ankles, the Melungeons. You know, it's been a long time since we existed, and I'm here to talk about a census classification that was denied us back in 1920 when this idiotic person came up with the idea that everyone is supposed to be the same if you have any Black or African DNA in you. And so a lot of us have been online, and one thing that is interesting is that the discussion is happening more and more, but we've splintered. So I'm an MGM. There's been no necessarily no mixing, nobody that's been mixed in my family now since the late 1800s. And one of the splits that comes about is those who are of a recent black-white, and I'm really talking about black-white and Indian in the United States. I'm not talking about black-white in any other area. I'm being specific to the United States, all right? And getting our census category back onto the census. So what the deal is this. There's been idiotic and splitting the hairs, nonsensical discussion of those whose mother is white, whose father's white, whose mother's black, whose mother's or whose father's white. And it just doesn't make sense to me. I'll go back to this because here's the thing that why it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me because we're all looking for the same goal. We're working toward the same goal, and that is to get a category on the census that fits us. We all go through the same issues, basically, depending upon where you are in the social strata, the socioeconomic strata, right? That's going to determine more of differences than whether or not you have a white mother, white father, black father, okay? So here's what the deal is. Sure, you can have any differences that you want in these things, but when it comes down to saying that the reason somebody acts this way or the reason somebody doesn't have sociological connections with the black community or white community is because of mother, father, etc., that's all out the window, all right? Sure, it has something to do with your thought process, all right? But the minute we get this classification onto the census, then the better we will be. And then we can start talking about splitting hairs. But, you know, if we don't look at joining forces in order to get this classification onto the census, then we're going to continually be where we are today. So it's been 100 years since our classification has been taken off. And I always say this because I am upset at the fact that MENA, Middle Eastern, North African, these people who represent a very minute part of the population have been able to come and get a classification for themselves. And to me, that's just wrong, all right? It shows that we haven't been able to coalesce and come together for our own good, right? So let's get things together and let's get our classification. Now, here's the other thing that is we're going to argue about the term, right? I don't specifically like the term mulatto. I have said over and over, if, you know, we come together, coalesce, and the numbers agree that that's a term that we should use, then I'm fine. But there was a song by Michael Jackson where it says, they don't really care about us, all right? And the thing of it is that in that song, there is a line on there that he says, kick us, kike us. They don't really care about us, right? And so what happened is, because a lot of people don't know the term kike. It is a slur against Jews. And the minute they heard that, they said, no, you got to take that out. So what happened? The lyric was changed. And you can go look it up yourself, right? They don't really care about us. Kick us, kike us. So why are we the only ones in the world that want to use what was a slur to describe us? Mulatto was a slur. I don't care what anybody says. I said this on my last video. Both my parents are from the South. I went to the South in the summer and spent time with cousins, aunts, uncles, and families. We were always told that was a slur. And so now people want to come back and use the term and say that, okay, it's okay because you know what, people in Latin America, people in Spain, the original meaning of the word was this, that, or the other. We need to use what it meant here in the United States. And if we don't continue to use if we continue to use what it meant in the United States, then we're going to be being called the N-word. And here's the irony of this, the N-word, right? The N-word is, okay, it's okay if you and your boys talk about it and you use it as a endearing term, or you use it when you're talking to the fellas in the basement smoking cigars, watching the game, right? Or you're rehashing what went on. But the minute somebody else outside of the black race says, you N-word, then it's taken as a slur. Pick up on what the Jews said. Now, we don't care whether we've turned it into this euphemistic term of endearment amongst ourselves. It's not going to be used. We're getting rid of it. We understand our history, but we're not using that term. So here's what I have to say. We can create a new word. New words are created all the time, and so people get hung up on the fact that they say, oh, it's a new word, it's not going to catch on. But let me say something. If everybody uses it, then it's going to become just like Google. Google that. Google that. Google our new term. I don't care what it is. Google our new term, whatever we come up with. And we will all be better for it. So all of the kids, all of our future kids will not have to go through the nonsense. They still will, trust me, they still will. Because what I experienced, my father experienced. And I only picked that up because of what I saw go on in his professional life when I was younger. And I saw it repeat itself with my daughter. So it's not gonna change. We need our new category, right? Because people, look, black people are always going to say, unless you've done something great, you are not like us. And the song by what's his name was a clear example of that. I mean, if you don't go any further than Kendrick Lamar, Drake competition, or you can say, okay, it's he's from Canada. He was born in Canada. But let's be real clear about this. That song also, the undercurrent and the tone of it is, you're not like us because you're biracial. You're multiracial, all right? And you can look at me and tell that I even look more white than Drake did. But I grew up in an entirely black city. I don't have any white family members. My background, as I said, was the last white person that came into my line is in the late 1800s. So all I know is being that black side. But that doesn't stop me from having the same experiences as somebody who's currently black white. And let me say this. After you and the mulattoes right here are talking about we need the term mulatto, after you marry, the next generation is no longer mulatto. Based upon your term, your description, it's not mulatto. It's multi-generationally mixed at that point. So why not call ourselves brass ankles, Creoles, Melungeons, whatever it is, or create a new term? Okay, everybody, let's get on board. Let's do it. Start the chats in the back in the back rooms, and let's flood Congress and the powers that be so that we're able to get our category.